motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Common Sense and the Devil's Advocate. Mike and I are here drinking once again and reminiscing about times soon to come when we get back together and take a little man trip to go get some more bourbon in a couple weeks. I cannot wait, Mike.
Well, Joe, tonight I am finishing off your Christmas gift of Angel Levy. And what are you drinking?
I am drinking right now. I am drinking a little bit of Hibiki Master Select from Japan. And that is because I wanted to share some of that with my friend who is joining us tonight. Mike, let me introduce you to Tolga.
Hello.
Welcome, Tolga.
Nice to meet you.
Tolga is one of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. He is, as far as I've learned, besides being a great carpenter, an amazing friend and a great father. I met Tolga, I'm trying to think now, was it 2 years ago about?
More than 2 years.
Oh my God, dude.
Almost 2.5 years.
Holy shit. The time just goes so fast anymore. it is crazy. Quick story on how we met, because I think it's a good, fun story. I'd signed my son up because he wanted to do soccer. So I signed him up to do soccer. As I'm going in for this soccer league, they said, "Oh, we really need assistant coaches bad. Please, anyone who could help out." And my wife gives me a kind of the doe eyes of, I'm sure your son would love it if you did that. I'm like, I know Ted Lasso about soccer, and that's, it's fun to watch, but I don't know mechanics but it's just assistant coach. Okay, I can be there to, help out the coaches, whatever he needs. He'll have the lesson. And so I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll help. Then we show up to get all the gear the day before, like, first practice starts. And I go to the people running this. I'm like, all right, so who's the coach of the team? And she goes, "Oh, you are." And I'm like, and she's like, "But I got you an assistant coach," who knew even less than me, which is even better. So I'm like, well, this is going to be an interesting year. But whatever, I'm going to be Googling the ass out of this tonight and putting, plans together, and it'll be just fine. So then we show up, and probably by about the second practice we had, a couple of the parents were, it was an amazing team of very friendly parents.
Yeah.
85% of the kids were awesome kids that just wanted to,
Absolutely. Yeah.
they just wanted to play with everybody else and support, and it was great. And a couple of parents offered up their help at any given time. Tolga had come up to me and he introduced himself because they had recently just moved here. And he goes, "My son, Adem, his English is broken. He's learning and all that. And he speaks some more German. So I just want to help out with all that." And he goes, "If you need any help, I taught in Germany, coached and all that." I'm like, "Oh, get over here. Get in here." And, needless to say, our team that season lost one game the entire season.
It was amazing.
And that one game was a faraway match right around spring break where we didn't even have an entire team. We had to borrow from another team to field it. And it was everybody that would normally sit on the bench half of the game. But you know what the cool thing was? It started off, we got our butts kicked the first half, but even those kids that didn't have the finesse and all the skill of the bulk of the kids that weren't there, they came together. It was like, they rallied and played a really hard fought game. And the second half, they gave it their all, and there was no way they were going to come back. But I don't think they let any more points get scored. They even scored a couple. It was pretty cool to watch. And then the rest of the season, it was just disgusting domination. It was a lot of fun. The kids were great though. It was such a fun time. So that's how we met. And then we just kind of became friends, stayed in contact since then. Kids are the same age, different schools, but they, they'll hang out when we hang out and play.
Nice.
Can you remember the first game from Adam? The referee was a little rough.
Yes.
Can you remember? That is a situation. I still talking with my wife about this situation.
Uh-oh.
Because my English was not like today for my son as well. Joe was the person, he protect my son from this situation. I mean, the ref doesn't mean it really mean, but he was a little bit too rough to my son.
Yeah, he was. He just kind of pushed him off and was like, whatever.
So, and Joe was a person, he go on the field and told the ref, "Don't touch him. leave alone.
Yeah, you don't touch my kids.
Yeah.
So amazing, this
Yeah, I know
situation. I was so, I mean, shocked, but in a positive way, a good way, because
Yeah.
how you protect my son. I was 2 months here in the States. I moved 2 months ago. Then in that time from Germany to the States, my English was really bad.
That was
So
pretty good, actually.
really,
I never had issues. Never had issues. No one had
So,
issues.
and the situation was really even today, even a couple of days ago, I talked with my wife again about this situation. How amazing that was from you to protect my son, because I mean he was really new. Everything was new for him. The school was new friends, new team, new coach, new environment. Everything was new. And then a ref came to him and pushes him and he wanted to tell him, don't be so rough to the opponent. But how he
Yeah.
led
Yeah, that
was too rough.
Yeah. Joe's always been really good about making sure when people seem to overstep, he's got a really fine knack of just snapping it before it goes any further. Yeah, I've seen it half a dozen times at least since we've been friends. But yeah, that is like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're thinking about what do I want to say to this guy, Joe's already saying it. It's like, oh,
Oh, my filter
guy.
doesn't limit the filter. I don't have time for that. So Mike, like I said, we've become friends. We've gone through all that, and then over those couple of years now, I've started to hear Tolga's story, which and we'll have to share out the link to it. You can actually watch Tolga's story because they kind of did a little documentary on you guys, right?
Yes, that's correct. German TV, that's correct.
In German TV. Is it got subtitles?
So
I
yeah,
hope I'll be yelling at TV. Going through that, I hear a lot of the stories and let's say trials and tribulations that Tolga and his family have been going through as part of their move here to become, and again, it's not even an American citizen, to
No.
just be a what's the terminology that we use it? It's a is it legal immigrant or what?
yeah,
Okay, so
I would say yeah.
be a full-blooded legal immigrant, following the processes and going through
Honestly,
the hoops.
in my case, I'm non-immigrant, legal non-immigrant because of my visa. It's a investor visa.
Okay.
It is different. I need to go every 5 year. I need to do the all paperwork and send it to the government to show how my business works, how everything else works, and then they decide every 5 year.
If you can stay or if you can have
Right.
to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get more into that. We're going to get more into that. So, Mike, so there was one time, it was one of our first podcast episodes. Me and Mike were talking about some situational stuff, and it just kind of had to go along the lines of, it was when they first started these, like the big mess with the ICE raids and all that.
Okay.
And somebody had told me a story about a lady who worked at a shirt factory in California, and she'd been there for, what did I say, Mike, like 20 some years, forever,
Yeah.
but she spoke very little English. But we were talking about how they came in, they did that, they deported her and all these other
Sure.
people. Yeah, that, and it's interesting because you hear about it, you're like, what, the person's been here this long, they've had a stable job, they've stayed obviously out of doing anything wrong under the radar. Um, and it's just not right. And also they don't penalize the company. They only penalize the person and not the person employing this person that
Mhm.
they say is wrong, for being here. And we had talked about that. And when you bring it up, a lot of people are like, well, if you would just do the right thing, this wouldn't be a problem. And that's, yes, there's the assumption, right? The terrible broad assumption that so many people have is that you can just show up in America with your bags and walk up and say, hey, I'm here to get a job and do all that. And you give me what I need so I can go on my way. But that's what, people think, isn't and then everybody with a brain says, well, if it was just that, everybody would do that unless they were here illegally for a reason. The only reason you wouldn't do that is because you're hiding something. Well, that's what we do. That's what people that have always lived in America do too. They hide shit that they don't want anyone to know about. So So we talked about it, and and me and Mike, we delve into it a little bit, but it's one of those things to where we didn't want to try to get too much into the thought process or the mindset behind it because we didn't know. So our view was we have only one of a couple ways that we can actually talk about this in a proper detail. Either we find somebody who has gone through it and continues to go through it, which I think is one of the biggest key things that really made when I first reached out to you, as you told me about just recently a process, how much you have to do continuously to keep
Right.
your legality of being in here. But the other option, right, is to find an actual immigration officer that can walk you through the process. Because there's only a couple ways to really figure it, right?
Correct.
So I obviously firsthand experience trumps everything outside of everything else that's out there is part of let's turn back the time. Let's start, Mike, and then you got anything you want to add to that real quick before I start him off?
Yeah, if you've Tolga, if you wanna, if you feel comfortable enough sharing like the path that you went from where your birthplace was to making it to America, that would be
Okay.
really super interesting. At least to me, it would be.
That's kind of close to where I was going. You went further back than I was thinking, which is even better. But yeah, like start us off from your your birth, where you kind of went through to
Of course.
the point to where you finally said, I'm going to do this and we're going to America. Start up to
Okay.
that point. I'm curious to see that.
Nee, that sounds good.
Process.
Of course, no problem. So I was born and raised up in Germany, Berlin, the capital city. So my parents moved from first my dad moved in I guess it was 1971 from Turkey to Germany, start to work because the Germans had no labors anymore after the World War II. Not enough.
Understandably.
Yeah. But and then they the government make an agreement between Germany and Turkey to send laborers to Germany to build up the Germany again. And then he made my mom, and then first my brothers, and then 1981, July 17th, I was then there.
Now we all know his birthday.
No,
You just said July 17th.
July 17th. Yeah, it's Mike's birthday.
No, I said no. Your birthday. No.
Okay.
Confused him. Continue.
Oh, and I mean, as a child, I saw how difficult it was for my parents because of their roots, because they are Turkish. Racism was really big problem in Germany. So, and then first time, do you want to know more about these problem, or should I go why or how I moved in here?
Well, I'll ask a question.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I work, and my wife also works for a company that is mothered from a corporation or companies in Germany, and I find it kind of disappointing that you just kind of proved what I heard as a rumor is probably correct. Is that Germany, and not just all of them, but a majority of your bigger companies exploit the Turkish immigrants for crap wages. And is there any truth to that from what you just said? It kind of says that there is. They say that all their hired labor help, they just hire a bunch of Turkish.
Um, my experience is that my supervisor told to me in Germany, Mercedes-Benz. I worked 2 years for Mercedes-Benz. So he told to me, here are on the right side are the application from the Germans, and on the left side are the applications from the Turkish, Arabs, and
Everybody
tell
else.
you, look first the German, and then if it's necessary, then other ones.
Hey,
That was how they looking for laborers. So I had a Turkish passport,
Mhm.
and I don't know when it was. I guess it was 2007. I changed it to German, and then it changed.
Job, like you were liked you.
It was easier than before to get a job in Germany then because of my passport. Because I am then officially German, but I was born, raised up in Germany. I mean, but that is
that
ridiculous.
didn't. Yeah, that doesn't matter. You got to have that stamp.
So correct. It doesn't matter from where you come. If you are good enough for this job, then take them. What is the problem? I mean, the Turkish guys, the and everyone else built up this land,
Yeah.
Germany.
You brought them in for that.
You brought them in for that, yeah. The especially Turkish guys, did the dirty jobs. They clean the streets. They go, did the jobs what nobody else want to do. Show a little bit of respect, and for the kids as well.
Yeah, well, but again, the thing about that, what that just shows you that what we just killed off here was a DEI. It should help, the whole create that at at one point here was to try to level that playing field. Yeah, if you have two stacks of resumes or applications, they should be mixed together, and that's how it should be. And people don't realize, again, the people who don't ever realize that are always on the right stack. They're never in the left stack. You gotta, until you get picked up and taken out of it, you don't realize that is actually there. So rough. Okay, so you're in Germany. You're growing up.
So school was difficult, especially for me. For me, it was difficult. Trouble with my teacher, but my dad got into the school district and talked with them a couple times, and then the teachers they changed the teachers, and then I was then way better than the school. Then the following steps in middle school, and the system is a little different than here. You have elementary, I don't know, call that then college, I don't know, and then preparation for the job.
Okay, like trade school versus
Trade
school.
Correct, trade school. So that was my steps: elementary, then college, and then trade school. So I had really good friends, good German friends. I played soccer in that time. We had really good guys on our teams. Then I met my wife. She's German. So that was especially the first 9 or 10 years was really tough. Not only for me, for my wife as well. On one side, the person she loved, and on the other side, the parents. Parents don't like me because
Oh,
you
because you're not German.
German, yeah.
Don't worry.
So
I got about 20 years and it's still tough. It's not the parents that don't like me. It's the wife. Sorry.
sometimes depends on how they talking with you. I mean,
Yep.
If they don't show you, that is really to treating you like you are a person. How can I say?
Lesser or
Yeah, lesser. Yeah.
well, then when this is something is going to probably exist for the rest of your life too, because you're
So that was
in-laws. Yeah.
this kind of problem was one of the reasons why we moved here. So, like I said, it was really tough time, and then it's getting better after I told him what is in my mind.
Yep.
So then I guess he realized that I'm not really a bad guy, but still, before we moved here, I don't say goodbye because of some troubles. So the first time I was here for vacation. That was 1992 with my parents. A long time ago, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that was a best vacation until then.
Where'd you go? You remember?
Further. Great. So it was, even my dad tried, and I guess it was 6 or 7 years in a lottery to get the green card. It doesn't work. And then he stopped to playing the lottery. And I guess it was 26. Thanks. So I guess it was 2018. I remodeled I worked on my house in Germany, and this was summer. And after work, sit down on the garden, and I start to talk with my wife. What keeps us in Germany?
Okay.
So, and she told me then, only my parents and my grandparents. I told her, like, yeah, only my parents. In my case, only my parents. Because friends, if they are really good friends, they can visit us here
They're
as
always
well.
friends. Yep.
So doesn't matter where.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, and then she started talking what she loves about the States. The first thing she told me was the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I told her, you know what? I am 49ers fan. So, and then she told me, okay, search for an area where there's 4 seasons and no hurricane or no earthquake or something else.
Well, that's not much. You have tornadoes. Tornadoes.
Correct.
And we actually had an earthquake in high school, Mike.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yes,
it vibrated a book.
and you guys have 2 seasons, cold
and hot.
and and a little bit of hot, and then it goes right back to cold. Didn't you just didn't you just get snow last week?
It was Cliff.
They had flurry.
Okay, whatever, it's still cold enough to snow. Okay, so anyway, so then you
So and then I start then to send from Germany to the States because you can't create your application, come over here and go to the companies and give them applications. That is no go. If the government figure it out, you can come for the next 10 or 15 years here.
Yeah.
That is they will block you. Okay. Start to send them from Germany applications every day. Our goal was first Maine, Massachusetts area. So
Beautiful area.
the most of my applications I send it to Maine.
They have 1 season.
I know.
Beautiful, but cold.
Yes, that's true. So I guess it was almost every day I sent a minimum of 4 applications.
So these are for, like, sponsorships, right?
Sponsor, yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. That is, you have only couple ways to move here. You find a company that sponsored you. You marry with a marriage. Open your own business, like investor visa. What I did was E2 visa,
Okay.
but that is non-immigrant visa. Or you are like specialist for something else, or you are like a pro soccer player or football player or something like this.
Yeah, we'll keep Messi.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's gonna stay.
So these are one of the ways how you can move to the States.
Okay.
So, and then one company, was a lot of companies, they told to me, if you get your visa, we will hire you. But I told to them, I need your help to get my visa. If not, that doesn't work. So, okay, that one company told to me then, we are interested, really interested to hire you. And first they want to do a video call, and I told her, hey, it's couple of weeks, then Easter, I'm in Maine, I can buy in person.
Nice.
So, and I did. It was amazing. The interview was the best experience what I had until then, because I was in Germany in a couple interviews, but it was really strict.
Mhm.
And it was completely different. Like I visited a family member, you know.
Okay. Yep.
I was in the hall and he told me, Tolga from Germany. And after Chris, yes. And then start to
Introduce
talk.
you.
Yeah. And then he asked me a couple questions. And then after 15 minutes or so, he told me, yeah, I have wife, 3 kids.
Mhm.
My dog is in Germany. Where's your family? They're waiting in my car. So, and then he told me, what?
What's wrong with you? Get him in here.
Yeah. And with my family, whole family at an interview.
That's crazy.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
So in that time, he told me, you know what? I saw how much experience you have. I will hire you as a lead carpenter, not as a carpenter, because my application was for carpenter position. So my wife started shaking. My kids started
Aw.
to shake.
Reality.
Yeah, because it was really fast. After it took maybe 3 months. And then he told me, no problem with a job for your wife, kindergarten, no problem, school, no problem. We will help you with everything. It was the best offer what I get since then. In Germany, no way. I worked for 3, 4, 5 people alone. And then not even, hey, you're doing a good job.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
No appreciation.
no, nothing. Only one time. I don't like to lie. One time, one of them came to me and told to me he's so happy to have me on that position because then everything works well. So there was one time. So, and then my oldest one, my daughter, told to me then after a couple of days, she cried and told me, Dad, I want to finish my school in Germany and please not yet. And so my wife told to me as well, told her, I have a feeling something is not good. Let's wait a little bit more and then try that later again. So that was for me like heartbreaking, absolutely. It took me I guess 3 or 4 months after I came back to Germany to get a clear mind.
Okay.
You know, it was really hard to me because it was the best offer what I get until then.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I love the States since 1992, since I was the first time here.
Okay. So real quick,
Yeah.
That trip, was that the first time your wife had been in the States?
Yes.
Okay. So no one had ever been in the States before that interview except for you.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to get that.
Right.
That's a lot to take in for how to get it.
So, and then I told her, okay, we will sell our property in Berlin and move to suburbs. And I will start them from zero. I will buy a property what need to be remodeled completely. And I did. It took me almost by myself 3 or 4 months, but it was a lot of work. I worked every day 12 hours and to finish the whole work. And then I told her there is only step before we start to move to the States. Then I started to try again with the same company. I asked them, is there any chance to get me into the company? Doesn't work. And then I figured out that the E2 visa is a good way to move here.
Okay.
So it was 2 options, martial arts school or handyman.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and then we
The
met
2 options for you.
for me. Yeah.
Okay.
For-
I was like, wait a minute. That's all they want you to bring over here.
no,
Either
no, no,
fix
no,
something or teach a fight. That's all we care about.
no, no, only for me.
For you. Okay.
For me.
You have the MMA
s-
background.
Correct, correct. Then it was right. I was in Jacksonville. I met some really nice family in Jacksonville over Facebook.
Okay. Are they Turkish?
No, they're German.
I have good Turkish friends, you guys. That's why I asked. But okay.
Okay. So, but they're really nice people. So, and then, I mean, they didn't know me and they opened the door and told me, you can sleep here. Here is a car for you. You can drive everywhere where you want. It was really amazing. So, and then he showed me everything.
Mhm.
And then that time it was 1.5 week or almost 2 weeks. I saw that everywhere are martial arts schools. It's too much, you know? And then the oldest son from family is sheriff officer in Nassau County.
Okay.
And he showed me the construction areas, how
Mhm.
they built here.
Yeah.
That was the experience where I told to my wife, you know what? Martial arts, high quality here in the States, in quality
Oh, yeah.
could be better.
Yes. It could.
It's really amazing.
Doesn't mean it's built right, though.
So, and then my decision wasn't clear to go into that field. But my whole experience from Germany, my certifications from Germany, I have that, yes, but still I need to go to the test for a general contractor or for
Yeah.
any certificate or license. So I'm still studying for my GC license, and until then, I create my handyman business. Right. I want to tell you how the whole process was a visa process.
Yeah. Okay. So you came down to the best option for you. And again, this comes down to just saying how to show the mindset of somebody who wants to come here to the States is not, I'm going to come here. The streets are paved with gold.
No.
The food is free. Yeah, we're just throwing money at everybody. No, you came here with literally in your mind, the only way you could come here was to start a business, to grow something, to help better our society, to be a part of everything and pay your dues, be part of everything, which is what,
So, yeah.
and people don't, again, the mindset. Oh, he could have just come over with his family and, got a bunch of free stuff. Come on.
It was so expensive.
It's
yeah.
not, is it? Yeah.
It was so expensive. I mean, after my decision, contact a lawyer to see which way is the right way and correct way. And then he told me, you need to spend a lot of money. So that means in my case, as a handyman, I need to buy a car, like truck or van, something. So then the rent, the corporate rent,
Well, marketing.
marketing on
Yeah.
your car, the whole tools, then the homepage, phone number, then bank account. I mean, that is one of the
It adds up quickly. Yes. So when you you talked to the lawyer, this was part of the process before you came.
Yep.
So did they want you to so to start a business here, you incorporate to get an ID with the government. Did you do that before you were like trying to think how to do this? Because you obviously
I know what you mean. And
you have to be here to have an address to incorporate, right?
correct.
But you need to show that you're going to start this business before they'll let you come get the address,
It's
right?
extremely
Oh
complicated.
my God. Yeah. I mean,
So even-
chicken or the egg.
Wow.
You need the address here to open a bank account.
Yep.
You need the address for the phone number. You need the address for what was that?
Tax ID number and all that other stuff.
That is after the ID number and the social security number. You can apply that after you moved here. That is one of the
One thing you can
easiest.
do. Okay,
Yeah.
that-
But the government told you if you step on these states, you need to be ready to work.
okay. That's,
You need to be ready to work, not only with your body, with your hands.
yeah, but
It's everything should be ready to work. Car, tools, homepage, home. If you need an office and office,
okay.
everything.
You can't show up and be like, I'm working on all this.
No.
No, you got to be,
No way. You have no chance in the government if you have an appointment for an interview and they see something it's not ready. They will give you. I hear some of these situations. They will give you your whole application in your head and tell you then you need to fix that and then come back.
Well, Tolga, how much time did it take for you to even establish a residency for them to even look at you to go further with the next process of owning your business? Did you have to establish your residency first in the state?
so he's saying you're in Germany. You make the decision to come here and start your own handyman business. What I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. So to get
How
from
did you find a place to live?
yeah, to get
You
from
know,
Germany
in the
to here
U.S.
and then fill out all that
Okay, got it.
paperwork. How did that part?
So how to find the place was like the friends from Jacksonville, but Jacksonville is too crowded for me. I don't like it anymore.
It is grown a lot.
So and I want that the environment for my kids, for my family is safe. And it was one time they brought me here then to Bucky's and then St. Augustine to St. George Street.
Mm. Like I like
Yeah,
it.
buddy.
And then after I saw St. George Street, I was completely falling in love.
It is gorgeous.
It is absolutely. So, and then I start to, and by the way, I was in Fernandina Beach as well, as a saying. Amazing.
Oh, Fernandina's Beach, it's gorgeous. Yeah, they're very chill, very relaxed.
So, and then I start to search for properties for rent
Mhm.
from Germany. That was, can I say, pain in the ass.
You say anything you want.
That was really pain in the ass.
I'm sure.
You have no, I mean,
It's hard to
it's-
prove you're going to
it's-
show up, right?
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. And then you need to pay in front for
Oh.
3 months. So it is a big amount of money.
Yeah.
So, and then I started looking for the rental properties. And then I have a cousin here in Seattle. He told me, Tolga, be careful. If you're looking for properties, look first the school ratings and then
Yeah.
send your application for the house,
Yeah.
for the property. And then I found guy was an Indian guy. He told me that, okay, we have no problem because everybody else told me we have no social security number. You have these and that.
Well, this is someone that probably went through it.
And one guy, he told me, okay, we have no problem if you pay 3 months in front to pay the renter. That was 7,500. So, and then I did that, and that was where we lived before.
Okay, so
Where I lived before.
Yep. So you land this question properly because it goes right along with you're saying there was an issue. Some people were not comfortable renting if you are not already a resident in the U.S. And you find a person who's willing to let you come here. Of course, some of his risk, right, is that you aren't on the up and up and you get deported, or that's probably why he wants the 3 months in case something goes south. So I guess I was trying to figure out in my mind how that works also for it to tell to somebody. Do you explain to them, these are the steps that we already have lined up to stay in the States. We just need to, or is that, I guess I'm trying to think, I mean, you know what I'm saying, Mike? Like, how does that, it would be almost like if I wanted to go to Germany right now, right?
That's
Say,
easy.
okay, but I can't think of a hard place that wouldn't want me. But let's just say I want to go to Germany. Now, I picked up the phone, like, I want to rent a house in Germany. And they said, okay, well, for how long? Well, I'm moving there. Prove to me that I mean, you see what I'm saying? Is there that, was there that, I don't want to say stigma, but was it difficult to, which it sounds like it was, to find somebody who's willing to, because they almost had to take a chance on you, right? That you were going to be an upstanding citizen once you get here and not, because if you showed up and you paid them the 3 months and then you were like, whatever, I don't care. What are you going to do? Okay, well, maybe you can get me deported or I don't know what.
Yeah.
But see, again, to rent an apartment here, you need to provide driver's license. But again, you can do all that from overseas
I
too.
didn't have my driver license.
So you just gave them whatever you had from Germany and
Correct.
okay.
Everything is German paper, and that's it. Driver license, I did that here before I moved here, after I moved here.
Okay, so you're here now. You're here, you get into this house, paid for 3 months. Is
Actually,
there
for 4 months
4
before.
months, 3 ahead plus the first month when you get to yes, 3's the deposit. First, last, deposit, rent,
It
and
was $10,000.
God, it's not a small amount of money by any means.
No.
You get here, I'm sure there's got to be part of you that's like, all right, we got to make sure that we stay, that we can stay, right? Because you land
Right.
and now you got all this paperwork that you got to set up to.
It was crazy. The paperwork
Okay,
was
so you already got your proof of residency. Now, how long did you have to show that proof of residency before you could move to the next step? How long did you have to live here to be on American soil before you could solidify your visa and then move on to the next step of licensing your business and moving on to be able to stay here every 5 years?
So do you mean the
Almost how do you get the visa at that point? Like, do you have the visa before you land?
everything was done. Everything was fixed before I land here.
Okay, so you had the visa in Germany to come
Of course,
here.
of course. So that took me over 1.5 year, the whole process.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So
Before looking for a house. Almost. Wow.
not the house. The
But
house was the then
That was the easy part.
the easy part.
Yeah,
of
but
the
a year and a
whole
half
process.
before you would get to that. Wow.
The lawyer told me, Tolga, take a ticket, go over the sea to the States, buy your car, create everything like phone number, bank account, whole tools, and everything else. And then take pictures from everything as a proofment and bring the invoices and everything with you back.
So you came here, you
Yes.
did all of that.
Everything.
So that was needed to even get the visa.
Yeah, of course.
Holy
So
shit.
Well, now let me back up a question here, and I'll let you sum it up. So, housing, van, racks,
Everything's in the
tools,
housing.
licensing, tax ID number, all that stuff. In a ballpark, how much would you say from the word go to here on the soil running your business? Do you think you probably had to shell out ballpark estimated figure in hard-earned cash to be able to collect that visa to be on U.S. soil with your
So-
family?
Ballpark.
not the house, what I paid, the 10,000 for my
That
special,
includes it.
To be able to get the house, to be able to even get to the house. Yeah.
then $70,000.
Did you say 70?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Holy!
Mike, we're going to put a pin in that, but remember that.
I'm pinning it. I got to
Yes.
absorb that for a
Yes.
second.
I spent over
Okay, wait, more.
$100,000.
I'm sure.
And that is a non-immigrant visa.
Jeez. Well, now you can spend $1 million and you can become a citizen of whatever you want, right?
Wow.
But you can get the gold card. Okay, but that before we move on to everything you did after this. So that really starts to put it in perspective, right? Again, as we said, people will look at someone wanting to immigrate or even just come to the United States and work for a few years and think all they got to do is cross the border and they can figure it out and it's not an issue and all that. And the reason why people are illegally coming in is because we've made it so hard to come here based on this processes that we have. It's years worth of time. It's tens of thousands, almost hundreds of thousands of dollars to come here to do it. It almost makes you, it's like a flashing neon sign. Of course, people are going to try to sneak in because who has that? You had to work. I mean, you risked probably a good chunk of your life savings to be able to come here.
I can tell you what I
But you risked. I mean, that's
I sold everything
Yeah,
in Germany.
yeah.
I had a loan-free home with a
uh,
huge size of land. On my properties was 3 properties. So
What a
main,
risk.
like a carriage house and a storage house.
You gave all that up
I get
for
everything,
the chance.
everything.
Because there's always like, you don't know that you get here and it all falls flat and they just kick you out. Like that's,
I mean,
wow, that risk.
the first 2 months was really hard for me because no clients.
Didn't make the right choice.
So sometimes I ask by myself, was it the right choice what I make? So then my wife, I love her really. She's the best in my life. She made a post on Facebook, a mom's group.
Of course.
So and one lady give my phone number to her husband and he contact me. And I'm still working over 2 years
For that person.
for that person.
Oh, that's,
And he
I
is one
love it.
of my best,
I love it.
I mean, it's not client anymore. It's like,
Friend. Was a partner. Oh, you trust in those plays.
It-
Just a little bit.
yeah, I would say kind of friend, you know, it's like, it's everything professional
Yeah.
between us, but he can call me anytime. And he did. And I was immediately at
Yeah.
his house to help him. Because this kind of person, he gave me the chance to prove my skills.
Yeah.
And he trusts me. Even he say to the other bigger companies in front of me, if I'm not here, Tolga's the guy in charge here.
Okay. Awesome.
Wow. Nice.
And that is one of the best persons what I met here. Joe is one of them. And
Yes.
this guy. It's the truth.
But-
Really.
So right there, to even start the process, to take the risk for the process, to go through and do it, is a son of a bitch. There's no easy way to say it. Unless you are connected or very wealthy, there is no easy way to, and stress-free way to come here without that worry of you followed every process. And I'm sure even then, once you got here, I'm sure it's almost like, did I shut the garage door when we went on vacation type of deal, where is there something we're missing? I mean, that must have been the first few months had outside of work, had to have been stressful for just, oh my God.
I know
Think about it.
that is so hard. I mean, I know that before, of course, because of the language problem. You are here. I started in Germany to practice English, looking on Netflix movies or shows in English with English subtitle, but it's not the same.
No, it's not.
If
I
you came,
tried.
yeah. So if you came here, they start to talk with you, and then nothing. You don't understand anything. To my first appointment or to this special client, he sent me a list, a to-do list. It was a lot. And I translated at home to understand what he wants from me. He told to me, say what you can do and what not. Most of them was no problem. So, and we go through the whole list and he showed me the whole places what need to fix. I mean, it's a beautiful house. It's really beautiful. So, and then I start to work at this house. So, and he saw, he looked how I work, and I'm good with that. If someone stays behind me and look how I work, it's okay. I mean, of course, no problem. So, the language was the hardest part here.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that'd be anywhere you go. Yeah, the language barrier is just,
So, I mean, for the kids, they have can I say, advantage?
yeah.
In the schools, they can learn faster than the parents. That is a fact.
Absolutely.
And they have the option of that, was it ESL, English as a second language, so they can kind of get the extra help
Right.
with those differences.
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing. Florida, we do a lot of crazy things down here, but there's definitely a lot easier here than some states
Absolutely.
for that stuff.
By the way, the schools here, my middle one, we talked about it. My middle one had problem in Germany because of her mathematic problems.
Mhm.
Even the German teacher, if she asked her for help, she told to my daughter, "Are you kidding me?" So that was a part of my life, like deja vu for me in my childhood in the school, and that was a moment where I told me Tolga, if you move to the States, you will do the best what you can do. That is the best, how can I say that?
For the kids or
For the kids and for all of us.
yeah.
Because I had a lot of trouble in Germany in the schools and kids as well. I mean, for me, it was in the past. I don't care. But if you see your kids get the same problem,
Oh yeah.
that is then the part of your life for when you to say, I need to stop that.
So I have my next question for you, Toga, would be how long after you got everything established financially with your business and stuff, and you came to the States and started doing your thing, were your wife and your children able to come over and join you? And how difficult was that process to get them over to the States?
Um, it was every time together. We moved here together.
Oh, that is awesome.
Which
Thank
a
you
lot of
for
people
at
go
least
yeah. Well, a lot will go over, establish, and then send for the family. So
I even
you did it all together.
all together, even my dog we
nice.
was on the same flight.
Flight?
Yeah. So, but we landed in Miami, and then usually they should call me
Mhm.
where I can pick my dog. They didn't do that. So, and then I start to search for my dog for 3 hours.
That's Miami. I'm not surprised.
And one person in the airport, she told me where I can go to pick my dog up after 3 hours. I mean, we landed, I guess it was 6 or 7 p.m. and then start from Miami to drive here.
You could have been halfway here. Jeez.
So it was then 5 hours,
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours.
From airport to about 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 hours, right?
Close.
So the last 1 hour, I told to my wife, I was awake for over 24 hours. I told her, how could if you do this one here, how told you that?
Pinch his.
Start to pinch me, please, because I'm so tired. So in the last hour, I'm not kidding. She started to pinch me.
Stay awake. Stay awake. That's
So,
awesome.
And then I parked. I drove to the garage, opened the garage, drove to the garage, and then there was nothing in that house. Only mattress,
Air mattress.
air mattress, because before we moved here, my oldest daughter was already for 6 months here in DC as an au pair.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she helped us a little bit to have some small stuffs, the air mattress, but in the next morning after we woke up, man, it was crazy. That was really weird
Real
situation.
reality.
Nothing, no chairs, no nothing in that house. Only our
Luggage.
yeah,
Baggage showed up.
baggage and everything.
Oh my God.
That's it.
What do we do?
Even my dad was alone, and that time he was 22 or 23. He moved from Turkey as a laborer to Germany, only one bag with one shirt, pants, and that's it. And
Wow.
I can feel, or I could feel in that time, how was that for my dad?
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
alone. I mean, he was alone, completely alone in a different country.
No support.
No support, nothing.
Like this.
So I was happy to have my family with me, my wife, my kids. So after the next 6 months, my oldest one moved to us from DC because as au pair only for 1 year. She started here to studying a nurse. My kids doing great, amazing, not even great, amazing in the school, all of them. So my wife is happy, really. She
Hey, that's
loves it
important.
here. Yeah, because the pressure what we had in Germany was so high.
Mm.
She had as a pressure from her family, and for me as a Turkish guy in Germany. Every time you have a confrontation, confrontation,
Confrontation, yeah.
Yeah.
with
I got-
with job people, because in Germany these kind of people, not, I want to clarify, every German is the same. I have really, really nice German friends.
Yes.
So even at work, they use a word called Kanake. It's like this N word what they use here in the
Oh, so
States.
it's the slang for Turkish over there.
Correct.
Did you say Tanaka?
Kanaka? Just like, walk around saying this.
No, no,
Way
no,
worse.
no.
Way
It's
worse.
like you are that. That means you are.
Well, for us, Mike could be like cracker. You crack ass cracker.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's any slang. It's a derogatory term, and that's yeah. So even at work, they would talk to you that way.
So
Not cool.
absolutely not. So, but like I said, there are tons of German people. They're really cool. I have a lot of German friends, more than Turkish friends, but still there are some weird persons.
Well, they're everywhere.
That's correct.
The number of times when I met people now, either met or people I know, when they find out, oh, you moved back to Florida, like I'd be like, okay, well, listen. He's like, "Look, it's not that part of Florida, or I just like the weather and the ocean. Come on." I mean, I've met people and like, don't hold it against me.
No, Joe, I'll be honest. Like I've said it before, your part of Florida is like the Ohio part of Florida. It's
It's
just a
so
mixed
different.
bag.
But I used to have to say, yes, I was born in Jersey. And they'd be like, you want to admit that? And now it's like, well, I'm in Florida. And I'm not because everywhere you go, there's a stigma with a type of people, no matter where you go. It's everywhere. Some people look at Alabama and think they're backwood hillbillies, and West Virginia, they marry their cousins.
Well, they do.
But there's that stigma everywhere,
correct.
but you can't always point it out and say it's where you think it is, because just on that one itself, a few weeks ago, a vote was put up to the, I don't know, House, Chamber, whatever, in Florida. Legally, you can marry your first cousin in Florida. And they tried to get rid of that law and it got voted down.
I'm not surprised.
Oh no, I gotta stay married. Nurtured. That's so. Florida's just as back assward as everywhere else you would go. But we're okay. So we're off the subject. We moved on.
Yeah.
Let's go back to this. So we've gone through how hard it is to go through the process, how astronomically expensive it is. We glossed over something that I wanted to hit on that people don't realize. And this is something that's very apparent when you look at the news articles of all the people that are coming in here illegally, especially when there was a few years ago. Remember when there was like almost like a caravan of people coming up from Guatemala or I forget where, Venezuela. They were coming through Mexico because things were so bad. But you said you showed up. Understand this, people. Tolga went through every possible process you could. Years, tens of thousands of dollars, all the risk, everything. He showed up with a bag.
Correct.
So what people don't understand is that's the equivalent of me saying to anybody right now, here's your one suitcase that you can take on a plane, pack everything in it that you want to keep. You're moving to Zimbabwe, and this is all you get to take and nothing else. And people don't understand that not only how difficult that is, but you did that by choice. It's not like someone held a gun to your head and said, pick one bag, you're moving to the US, this is all you're allowed to take. That's not, I don't think people understand, grasp how difficult that is. That one shows that you saw an opportunity in a country that wasn't available anywhere else, which is why you're here. And that is, so that's something else that I've noticed of so many people, Mike. And I think we've talked about this before. My father-in-law, he owned a remodeling construction company up in Maryland, did a lot of work in the DC area. He sponsored 3 brothers, Guatemalan brothers. Originally, found them on a street corner, brought them in to do work up in DC. That's how it always was in DC. But these guys were amazing laborers. They worked for him. They were loyal to a T, and he rewarded them by helping them, to have become their citizens now. I think all 3 of the brothers are, he did there for them. They were family, and he helped them grow up, and they worked their ass off to kind of get to, to what they have, to have all that. It's not, nothing is given. It is earned,
Right.
you have, so here's the other thing. So we've gone through all of this. You've gone through that. You're finally stabilized in here.
Correct.
It doesn't end, does it?
No.
The process continues
Of course.
from everything you've had to do. I think, and this is one of the things that's blown my mind. 'Cause I know there's stuff that I don't even know about, but I think it was last year at some point, I reached out, we were talking about something, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And you said, "I have to leave the country."
That's correct.
All right. So can you explain that process? Because I think people don't understand, and it's as risky as it is. Especially you did this in the last 2 years when there's kindness to immigrants is not. I don't want to go into that one right now, but we're not, unfortunately, as a country, not being very kind to people in the last couple of years. It breaks my heart.
Very well put.
Yeah, but you had to leave.
Correct.
Explain what that means, because again, I don't think I had never heard this before, and it was shocking. So it's again a teaching lesson, and I want to get that out there for people.
I mean, there's a law. I don't know why. Even my lawyer couldn't tell me why. He, after I asked him, why should I leave every 2 years the States? He told me, I don't know, but you should. If not, you're then illegal. Even if you have your visa, doesn't matter. You need to leave the States every 2 years. I don't know where. Bahamas. Our choice was Bahamas.
So where you chose, but anyway, you need to just leave.
You just
Come back to the
leave
US.
for even for 1 hour. Take the next flight and come back. You need the stamp on your passport that you leave, and in the system, of course.
Yep.
That you exist. I don't know. I mean, I have a bank account. It's moving every day.
You pay taxes, right?
I pay taxes, of course,
Yeah.
and everything's digital today. I mean,
Yeah.
still we need to leave every two. In my case, it was my visa, was E2 visa. I don't know how it is with the other visas, with the other non-immigrant visas, but in my case, I need to leave every 2 years the States with my family, whole family, not
Even
me
just
alone.
you. And this is someone who has a established business. So like you're like they're literally saying every 2 years, I don't care how hard you're working, Tolga, you're taking a vacation. You have to stop working for at
Correct.
least long enough. And if you were in the middle of the country, you couldn't leave for just an hour. It would be at least where we're at in Florida, we can get to another country quickly.
Not with a car. Work.
Okay, see, I was wondering, so you couldn't like drive across the border.
No.
You have to literally go to customs, fly.
You need to fly or take a cruise. I guess it works as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just looked this up and I found something interesting on that. So E2 visa holders do not have to leave every 2 years, but they must renew their status then to avoid overstay. So they say the CBP generally issues a 2 year 94 authorized stay upon entry, regardless of the visa stamp validity. Departing and re entering the US restarts this 2 year clock without filing extension paperwork. So it's actually a shortcut for you to leave and then come back because that restarts that clock and you don't have to go through all that I-94 bullshit. So there
But
you
if
go.
you wait 2 years, who knows what could happen?
Then you are illegal.
Yeah. What if it's 2 years and 2 days? You try to come back and they're like
2 years and 1 minute.
1 minute.
enough.
Sorry, no. The system says no. You can't.
Yeah, that's great.
So even to be here and stay, you have a constant stress over your.
Yes.
My God, it can never end, and which is crazy. I hope for one day. Well, obviously, damn.
Inside this non-immigrant visa, we have right now. I have no chance to get my permanent
Citizenship because because it's just limiting them so much, or the steps would be
No, because I mean, my current visa doesn't allow that. So
Okay.
if I get my license and get some letters from my clients, like we need Tolga,
Yep,
he's
yep.
doing an amazing job, and then change the status.
The different type of visa.
Correct. Then it could work. Maybe it's not guaranteed. It's maybe.
So the process of just being here legally to becoming a citizen is another whole nightmare.
Correct.
If there's even a way to do it, short of divorcing your wife and marrying mine.
It doesn't happen.
But because of the visa, would that work with the visa? I don't know. Again,
If I'm married, he's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, but no way.
your wife would kill you, but But again, but random. Again, that's the circumstances are very limited
You get correct.
to do that. Which
Correct.
again, everybody, there's always the stigma of these damn immigrants. They're just here to take free shit, and they're not. That's
Of
what
course,
pisses
yeah.
me off more than anything is so many people want to have that perception. And so the thing that I was leading up to this until I poured another glass is what I've noticed. And Mike, I want to know if you've noticed this throughout the years too. The people that I have met and become good acquaintances and friends with over the years that have a pseudo similar story to you. They weren't born here. They've come here for either school or work or whatever. Those people appreciate what they have and the United States almost more than anybody I know that was born in this country.
I'll one step further than that. It's not only that, I mean, other than everybody's small circles, but like Tolga's connection with you at that soccer game, to be able to grab onto some small moment like that and know that I know I'll be safe with this person, is even more appreciated than just being able to walk down the street without, bodily harm or anything like that. Most places. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm still flabbergasted over the amount of time and money you've had to spend just to get your foot on the crust of this country safely without being legally wiped out and getting your family here. And cheers, Tolga, because that's impressive. It's inspiring too.
I mean, well, Mike, I look at it in ways like this. If there was ever anyone ballsy enough to land troops on U.S. mainland soil, and everybody in America talks, I got my guns. They ain't going to do that because we got more guns than everybody else. We just go shoot them. You know what? 90% of the people are going to go cower in their house. But if outside of one person on my street, just because I know he wouldn't fuck around, if I needed someone to feel like they would be here to protect the American soil, I would call Tolga before almost everybody I know that
Oh
is
yeah.
born in this country. And even a couple other people that are, similar situations because you know what you have, and people here just assume what they have and they don't really respect it for that. It kind of goes along. I think we talked about this with Daryl when he was here. And I said, I think it would be good for the youth of America to kids graduate high school. They either go into some sort of trade or they go off to college. We're not ready for any of that. And honestly, mentally, we're not there. But they go off and they don't understand what they have. Whereas if there was a year or two, and it's funny, I actually heard a guy, a veteran today, talking about this while I was at a dealership waiting on my wife's car to get some work done today. He was saying how he did one tour over and he was saying how he thinks in his opinion, every male, I personally think every child in some manner should have to do some sort of service. And his view, again, it was so awesome to hear someone else say this just in passing to somebody else, that the guy view, he's like, I think every male should have to do 1 or 2 years of service. And it doesn't have to be military, but it should be a year on American soil and a year away, not on American soil, just so they understand what we have. You go
Appreciate the perspective.
appreciate it.
What's
And
in
by
front
doing by doing it on both is one, you're putting in some time to better your country. It could be almost like a foreign legion type of deal. It can be charity work based. It doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to say that service is carrying a gun. You do not have to do that.
Correct.
There are a million other ways that you can serve your country.
Absolutely.
And the same of going overseas. You could be building bridges and, purifying water, but you get to see what it's like on the other side. The whole grass is always greener bit. Well, guess what? Go somewhere where there's no damn grass and see how rough it really is. And maybe you'll understand why so many people want to come here, and what they want about it. And we've always said the government likes to just say it's a big problem, but instead of coming up with a method for people to do everything you did without having to take nearly the risks that you did. Because only somebody who's willing to, who has put in the all this time, again, you spent a good portion of your life one way or another preparing to come here, because you had to earn the money, you had to have the skill set, you had to do all this. If you only had two of those three things, it wouldn't have been possible, or at least to do legally. So many, 90x% of the people that want to come here to just better themselves and better our country don't have either the time or the money or the skill, but they may have the desire to learn the skill to do. And we don't focus on that's the missing piece, is that pathway for people to really come in and do that. I've always thought it was humorous when people were like, "Oh, we just, people won't pay their fair share and this and that." And in my mind, I'm like, if I gave you the way to open the door and say, "Come into America," ah, before you can walk through this door, I need you to do a couple of things. Fill out this information. Where are you going to live? How do we your pseudo residency? And yes, you're here. You have to get a job and you have to pay your taxes. But let us know where you are, and then we'll allow you to go do those things. But we don't. We make
And
it very
insanely
difficult, as you've
expensive.
told us, to get that. Yes, and people are scared
Can I add something?
because you can add anything you want.
In my case, I can work only for my company.
Just because of the type of visa?
Yes.
See, so on top of all
If,
of
if,
that, we're
if
limiting what.
let's say my business doesn't work. Let's say my business doesn't work. So what should I do then? It's not allowed to work for another company.
So your only option then would be to bring in a partner that has financial backing, so you can continue to work for your own company in some way. But you're right. You have no other option other
No.
than
Only my wife, because she's on the visa as well, as a spouse, she can work for another company. That is okay. But not me, because I am the first person on this visa.
So if you were to look 10 or 20 years down the line and say, okay, at X point in my life, when my youngest is out of the house, I might not want to do it like this. I might want to work for somebody else. Is there, as far as you know, is there a process that you can change your visa so that you can do that and stay? Or do you think it would be like
So
so you would need to be sponsored? So even at the middle, I mean,
even doesn't matter how long I
you're
work
here.
here, how long I'm here, say 25 years. If then I stop to work, I should go then back to Germany.
So you can't just retire here.
No. With that visa, no way.
But you're paying, okay.
I pay taxes, I pay everything like
Do you
everybody
pay
else.
Social Security?
I mean,
Like a retirement? I don't know what kind of taxes
No.
they take out. Okay. But which means you would never receive it. So, okay. But again, because they're telling you technically you can't retire in the United
because
States.
it's non-immigrant visa. That is why.
Jesus. So if you become injured
Yes.
and can't work and your wife can't bring in enough money, your only option is to go back.
If I can continue
I'm
to
a loss
work,
for words.
yes.
I am.
That, no, yeah. God, I have nothing to say to that one. That it breaks my heart. That's because it's the stress that it puts on. It is already so difficult to go through life as a good human being, to try to do the right things no matter where you are.
No, Joe, it's more important for the mass media to pay attention to the 1/10 of 1% of the people that are actually manipulating the system for bad reasons than the other 99.99% of people that are actually trying to better out their families and their lives. I digress.
That are and I believe from what I'm hearing, it's not the way things are going. It's not just the U.S. now. Like if you wanted to go to Britain, I think it's becoming more difficult for immigrants to even get in there.
Well, I currently have a friend that's living in Germany, from the US, that has had an insanely difficult time, and her husband is German, and she's been having an insanely bad time trying to get her visa to work in Germany. And she actually gave them almost an entire school year of free education on her two master's degrees and a bachelor of science. and they never paid her for it because they never approved her visa. And through the state of Germany, she cannot receive a paycheck because they never approved her visa. So they got a year of education out of that well-educated woman. So yeah, it's not just the U.S.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, people want to talk that, oh, someone wants to immigrate here and take our jobs. Well, one, you didn't. You created your own job. It's you're doing the construction work you're doing is work that someone else is not doing because they didn't bid on the job. It could be you're not taking anybody's job away. There's tons of it out there too. You added to the system, and if anything else, your goal will be to employ somebody,
I, it's
right? You're
government told to me I need to do that. It's in my business plan.
so again.
Before I sent application, it was business plan, the whole invoices, the whole everything else, put it together, sent to government. And the business plan says I should hire in the next 5 years, 5% here. I need to.
So again, Mike, instead of the stigma of they're here to take jobs, no.
Mandatorily create jobs. Not only that,
Or else you could be revoked of your visa. It's sad that that would make it that difficult. And again, are there people that are going to take advantage of a system that's there? Of course. There's always going to be somebody that's going to do that. But you know what? There's going to be just as many people or 10 times more that are already here taking advantage of the system. Everywhere you go, just like we can find racism, you can find everything, the other side of the tracks, and every city, every place you go, you can also find somebody taking advantage of the system, be it a white collar person. Because that's the thing is people always assume that the people that want to come here or that are already here taking advantage are the lowest of the low. And no, they're usually the brightest of the bright because they're the ones that figure out how to take advantage of the system. And people don't quite understand that. The ones that are willing to dig a ditch or pick oranges for a living because they just want the chance to start off and grow from there. The last thing that they're thinking about is how do I go get free stuff from Uncle Sam? Because
they'll never be
again,
allowed back in the country ever.
what
again.
happens if they get caught? Shipped out. End up in Alcatraz for the love of God, and things like that. It's scary, and it's just. If anything, you proved out to us what we already assumed, that it is not an easy process by any means.
Right. Well, I do to go along with the thing with the devil's advocate thing now, and I've been playing this around in my skull for a second. But do they make it so difficult? And I'm not a believer in this process at all, but does the United States and bureaucracy make it so difficult so that people will adhere to the laws and constituencies and not abuse the system? Is that why they do it? I'm not saying it's good that they do it, but is that why they do it? Or is it just because they just want to be dicks?
Well, I guess I wonder, is there ever a time as you're going through all this where you thought, let's just go and see what happens? Forget the lawyer process or all that? Or, have you ever met anybody, no names anywhere out there, who's been like, I'm just going to go and hope for the best? No.
Not in my case.
No, do you know people who've thought that way or
Yeah,
even?
of course. There are some people, even they won the lottery and they don't move here. Why did you
do that?
apply for a lottery? There are thousands of people, they want to win this lottery
Yeah.
to move here to the States because it was my dream to move to the States. So, and I did everything what I could to move here legally.
Legally. Yeah, it almost now Mike
Gotta
we gotta
get our
find
voice
someone who's
changed.
here illegally. Put a mask on them so we can hear the real stories, right? But again, it just proves out the point. It's and maybe if you didn't have to shuttle a family and it was just you might have taken bigger risks. Again, we can you can who knows what, right?
Some people are afraid. It's a big step. It's a really big step. I know a family was the same day at the U.S. government to get divorce for the interview, and they're still in Germany.
They're denied.
No, they have the visa. They get our visa the same day, but they're still in Germany because, like I said, it's a really, really big step. I sold my house. I sold my cars.
The fear to take that final step.
So I just read something, gentlemen, that I find really impressive. So the United States visa program, the lottery visa program. Now there is what, almost 8 billion people in the world, right? Only like 375 million of them being in the United States. The United States only provides up to around 55,000 immigrant visas annual. That is the population of the city I live in,
Out of 8
the
billion people.
entire United States against the entire globe. That's how rare it is to get that visa. Olga, I don't blame you for being pissed off at those people. That's assault.
Which is, yeah, but it's kind of weird that they, but that, which is, but that is actually a question. He didn't say he was pissed off. He just said how they were afraid. Is there any part of you that sees people who have gotten the visa and not come over and been like, well, you took somebody else's spot. Why are you doing this? Because if you're not going to come, then almost like,
It was a lottery, or
well, even the people that went that got the visa the same day as you.
yeah,
Okay,
they are still in Germany.
is there? Do you think that's right or wrong? Other than the fear, because again, they went through the process. Them getting their visa. Do you think does that mean that they theoretically took somebody else's spot that could be here?
In the lottery, yes,
There's only so many of them. Period.
of course.
Yeah.
There are so many. They try the lottery, like my dad, for 6 years
Mhm.
or 7 years, and it doesn't work. So if you don't want to move or go this way,
Don't do it.
don't do it. Then don't do it and give the chance to someone else who want to go this way.
Okay.
Right. So Joe, I just did another AI search real quick and not sticking by this, but a paraphrase, simplified ratio is if you were to play that immigrant visa lottery, you have a 1 in 145,455 approximate chance of winning that lot. Well, yeah, so you got that.
That's still better than the cash lotto. So I guess
45,000.
shit. 1 in 100. But that's like right up.
Struck by lightning,
Or
yeah.
hit by a cow or something like that. That's crazy.
Well, I won't say it for you, Tolga,
We
but
could,
if I were in your shoes and I
Yeah,
saw that
we could
stuff,
split this.
I would be pissed.
Well, regardless, outside of that, I'm going to ask. I do have one more quick question.
Of course.
And it's not along the process, it's along the lines of everything we see. Do you have, and it's gotten very quiet lately. I guess we can thank Iran for that, even though it's not their fault. You've seen this whole stuff with ICE going on
Yes,
throughout the country. Do you see any of that? And does it scare you or worry you?
of course.
I mean, because I guess in theory, no matter how legal you are with your visa, if the wrong person or the right guy decides, I don't like this family.
I mean, you hear so many stories.
Yeah.
Lady and where was that in California for 27 years in one company?
I mean, even going to the Bahamas for a weekend to get your 2-year thing, there's got to be a little bit like I mean, I would think your palms would be sweaty coming back to just in case they say denied.
It
I
can
mean,
happen, of course.
that's I mean, that's the shit that I don't understand. Is there's people that are
You can enjoy if you took the flight with your family to Bahamas right now, and then came back. I was only 3 days on Bahamas.
but
And that time was not so bad with ice. It started after that, but today
the high season like
I
that.
couldn't enjoy this trip there because what can happen if you fly back, come back to the States?
Yeah.
And they just look at you like, where's that accent from? Something stupid is all. Yeah, that's what scares me or the most about all of this is where
I mean, the officers was every time in Germany, and the government. He was amazing. He was really absolutely
Good.
kind. And on the Bahamas was I guess he was from Florida. The officer, absolutely cool,
very nice. Yeah,
very nice guy. So everything was fine. But if you hear in the news and the social media what has happened in the last couple months, of course. I mean, even in the college where my oldest one studying, the teachers told to the students, take your passports every time.
God damn it. I heard that.
Don't
and it was
forget it
weird.
at home. Keep it on your
On your-
body to show them you are legal here.
I hope you guys never, anyone in your family ever has to deal with that.
Me too.
You shouldn't. We are, and I've said this many times, we're with greatest country in the world. We are the abilities that we get being here are amazing. Nobody should ever have to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, I've said this before. We talk about the lottery and it's a sad thing to say. And I've had people that I've talked with and they'll talk a bunch of bullshit and all that. And I've looked a guy straight in the face before and said, listen, you're a white male born in America. You won the mass lottery 3 times. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Let me take away one of those, and you're still way above 80% of the entire world. And the
Oh, yeah.
worst part is I have to add that I'm adding white and male on there. You know, not even just born in America. Because guess what? Even if you take away born in America, but you're in America, you know, being a white male, sadly enough, still puts you at a weird comfort level. And it's scary that we still think and perceive that way. And that's how we treat everybody. I've been to other parts of the world and seen just how shitty it can be. And sure, it's easier
Yeah.
to understand and
Kinda like
accept
having
because you're like, well,
grandchildren.
I'm
You
leaving.
get to leave them over
I'm
there.
going back to my house, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
Yes, you enjoy it and send them home. Babies are great. Why? Because it ain't mine. I will take a cry baby any day of the week from anybody. Like I will make this baby be as happy as can be because it's so easy. And you know why? Because you're going to give it to a parent, someone who's not going to be stressed in any manner. Because I know I'm not raising the kid. You know, and they're amazing little things, but we take so much for granted. And that's yeah. And again, Mike, you said it. All I can say is Tolga, I tip my hat to you. Your whole family, you guys are
Appreciate it.
you're amazing people. You're the type of people, just 9 type of people. I hate saying it that way. You're the human beings that I want my children growing up with. You and your kids. You know, I feel blessed and you know and better in my life that I met you at the most random random scenario. And I have a very good friend up here who I do need to introduce you to, who is from Turkey that I met. Yeah, met him as a very random scenario when I first moved to Miami and a great friend of mine and loves this country more than anything. Yeah, it's not, I mean, Mike, I don't know. It's not where you're from, it's who you are. And I think we all just need to realize that a little bit more because we're focusing on way too much of the negative and
Yep.
I'm sorry, but unless you're
100%.
a Native American, we're all immigrants here.
Tolga,
Like it or
it
not.
was an honor to meet you. Sir, I hope we get to do it in person
100%.
with a little bit of a bit of it. But I appreciate your story. I appreciate you sharing with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And
Really
I'm not
appreciate it.
gonna lie, my brain is still a little glazed at the whole ordeal that even your fortunate status that you had and the opportunities that you had going from Germany to the US made it so much you still had an amazing feat to crawl over to be able to get here with your family and start a new life, and then just I need to absorb that for a couple of weeks, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, Mike, that's first world country to first world country. You know, people trying to do that
yeah.
from anything, you know, a lesser developed country. It's just another levels just keep going. It gets harder and harder
Alright, gentlemen,
to do
well,
this kind of
I
stuff.
am gonna call it an evening. My bourbon has ran out, and my brain cells have too.
Well, that's I'm fine with that, Mike.
Totally.
All right, Mr. Jacobs, I will talk to you
Yeah, bro.
soon.
Lovely evening.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. You too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.